All right, good. Welcome. It is Boba Fett Wednesday.
Yeah, it is.
And, we had a long talk about this show a couple nights ago. And let me just get straight into this. This was by far the best episode of the series and one of my favorite episodes of all the Star Wars stuff overall.
There's no way you're being serious.
I'm being 100% serious.
I thought you were going to hate this episode.
Why would I hate this? I love Boba in the flashbacks. I love all the flashback stuff, except for maybe hanging around the Tuskens a little too long in a limited runtime. But the flashback stuff was great. It really cemented, where like it's very much in line with his character and how he's changing. I love the character development that. Me, my main issue has been with the present day, not the flashbacks. This episode was pretty much an entire long flashback. And it was awesome.
I kind of feel like I'm taking crazy pills. You literally 2 nights ago talked about how you couldn't stand the fact that the show had become more about like politics and less violence. It was literally all the show was. And now you're telling me you loved it?
That was present day. Oh, what are you talking about? I'm a huge ship nerd. Boba Fett literally got into his fire spray attack ship and
you can't say Slave One, right?
I know. I was going to bring that up as a point. So that's our official. Okay. I think other than the Lego toy set, this might be our first official, in canon use of Slave One's no longer a thing.
Yeah, fair.
Like, Slave One's in the hangar instead of my fire spray attack ship.
My fire sprayer starter.
Yeah. So that was a little bit. Again, I'm not like. People have gotten worked up enough about the naming, so whatever. Fine with it.
All right, I'll leave it.
So yeah, I love all the scenes with Slave One. Like he literally settled all his debts in awesome
the
style.
Speeder Bike Gang.
When you just see
mercy.
You see Slave One coming in the distance, really slow, just hovering, and then just not even a warning shot. Just
he didn't even turn around so they could face him. There was like zero consideration for chivalry in that one. He absolutely laid waste to them.
Yeah.
But I think that, you could say, well, that's not the right way to go about doing things. I think they had it coming.
No, he even said, he's like, I have some debts to settle. I was double crossed, all this stuff. He befriended the Tuskens. He thought he had a fair deal and got betrayed. So, you go the nice way once, right? Yep. And if it doesn't go, then you make things bend to your will a little bit. And then absolutely. I love how he had this like personal vendetta against the Sarlacc. Well, I guess he was more so looking for his armor, but when he showed up there and he said he's dead to sell, he was like, I'm gonna take this thing out. And what a great job they did of having him like the ship flip, the lights on, the flashlights, and they're just kind of examining. And then the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, why does the Sarlacc look dead? Because like, did his little flamethrower stunt when he escaped kill the thing? And then
no way, yeah.
You just know the jump scare's coming.
And it's coming.
Yeah, that beak comes out and snatches him up, which was it was great.
Fennec Shen with the line of the episode, fire in the hole.
Yeah,
and that just.
Yeah, the seismic charge under the sand, just wiping everything out. Great.
Yeah.
See, how could I not love this episode?
Yeah,
okay. It gave me everything I wanted.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I thought the assault on Jabba's palace was cool.
Yep.
I love I'm a huge. I think we've both talked about this. Return of the Jedi is my favorite movie. I think it was your number one. I can't remember.
No, I was an Empire, okay. And then.
Yeah. So in Jedi, like in Jabba's palace, I always loved the bossy droid who gives C-3PO and R2 their jobs. So now he's in it, cooking. Was he cooking? Was he the one? No, like the General Grievous droid was chopping. I think he was cooking or stirring. I can't even remember now. Yeah. Anyways, I just love you get him back in the lines and his voice and everything was cool. And then when that droid with all the arms and knives went into the Grievous, I was like, that sounds obviously going to make that into a meme somehow.
Oh, 100%.
And then that little, like even like the little comical moment, like the little rabbit droid, whatever the heck it was, he was chasing around and couldn't get, and then he
just shut himself down.
Flicks the switch off. Yeah. I thought it was good. I thought like just little subtle things, like when they're trying to take off, obviously they flew in on a flat plane. And Bo's like, I can't see anything. Like,
Yep.
yes, because your stupid ship flies upside down when it's landed.
Yep.
So I thought that was good.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
just
definitely
everything.
things that like as fans you thought about years ago, and you're like, how is it possible? So yeah, it was awesome to see him struggle with that. Fennec Shand is an absolute stud in this episode.
Yeah. So, okay.
Like,
so here's a couple things I don't know are going to be controversial or how fans are going to feel is we knew Fennec had the robotic, Boba saved her with the robot insides.
Yep.
So now they tie in, you know, the mod gang in present day in the past when Boba visits the shop to save Fennec Shand.
Different mod gang though, right?
Yeah. Well, it's obviously that's the parlor they obviously probably went to. But how'd you feel that with that kind of tie-in now?
I liked it because I liked that they told that story. Obviously, there had to be an episode where him and Fennec kind of cross paths,
and they made a point of showing it in Mando. She had all robot inside, so obviously something happened. So this is probably the most logical conclusion on how that went.
Yeah, there was definitely a moment where I got a little confused with timelines when she was injured and dying. And first, I'm like, is that what happened in Mando?
Yeah, so let's
she had already had the cyborg insides, right? Or the robotic insides when that happened. That wasn't from the Mando attack, was it?
Yeah, so when you see the flares go up, that's from that episode 4 or 5 when they land on Tatooine, and him and that annoying guy from Mos Eisley have to take down Fennec Shand, and they the annoying guy, right, blasts Fennec Shand in the gut, right, to double cross her, and leaves her for dead. So that is it. So when they're attacking her, that's when she's setting those flares up, and then Mando's setting the flares up to blind her sniper rifle, right, as they're attacking.
That's right.
So that's that scene happening. So Boba's literally sitting there as that's happening. And then here's going to be a couple nitpicks for me. At the end of that Mando episode, you heard the spurs jingling, right? As with that teaser of someone walking to Fennec's body. Yeah. And everyone's like, well, it's Boba because Boba has the spurs with his armor, but Boba's not wearing his armor, so it's probably Cobb Vanth who got her.
Yeah.
But then it's actually Boba who gets her, but like he doesn't have the spur jingling. So that spur jingling was really all it was just an audio cue. Not that it was coming from any character. It was just this is Boba Fett.
Got it.
You know what I mean? Like that's all it ended up being. And again, it's fine. Just a little odd that. But the cool little subtle cue is when those flares went up, it did the Mando like flute.
Yeah.
Did you notice it? Yeah.
Yep.
So that was also the clue that obviously it's Mando because we got the Mando music.
Yeah.
So this brings up a new complication as far as time. So the past timeline has basically ran right up to the present day, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Well, it's in line with what happened in Mando season 2. So it's within.
Yes.
We're now 4 or 5 years past Return of the Jedi. So
yeah.
Was he with the Tuskens and living that for years, or was he in the Sarlacc pit for an extraordinarily long time? And if he was in that Sarlacc for that long,
he wasn't.
How'd he survive?
No, because the only reference he makes in the episode is that he had been living amongst or out in the dunes for years. So I believe he was with the Tuskens. Yeah, he made a comment when he got to the Sarlacc pit is like, I spent years out here. Doesn't necessarily mean he was in the Sarlacc.
Yeah.
So I would have to say that he was with the Tuskens for quite some time.
Yeah. So the whole timing thing again. Yeah, if that's what it is, it's just a hair confusing. That it didn't seem like
that's kind of the best of the worst options, right? Like
exactly.
That the Tuskens were starting to wear their time out in terms of time on screen. So if they'd have taken 4 years for him to spend with the Tuskens, the season would have been 25 episodes long, and you might have even turned it off after 7. So
and I guess that makes sense for him to earn the staff and all the respect and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it wasn't a 2-episode thing, right? It wasn't a 2-day thing. It was probably over a longer period of time.
Yep.
So at least now we know timeline wise. Well, for one, those flashbacks are now. We talked about whether they were going to keep going. They're done. after that episode, unless he has dreams back to Camino, because we got those flashbacks, but nothing's really come of those yet. And nothing's really, well, when he had the dream, when he took the lizard up the nose, right? He saw the tree, he saw Camino and all that stuff. So I don't know if there's more to that or not. Like very like easily explained away was like, you know, go get your ship, which I don't, there's obviously a way deeper meaning, but he's in those dreams with Slave One. He has Slave One back now. Sorry, he has his fire spray attack ship back now.
Fire spray attacker.
So yeah, it's again, it's just, that's, we now know what the time is, so that's all peachy.
Couple cool things I loved. The moment of the Bacta tank, you're now fully healed.
Yes.
I was wondering if he was just going to live in this Bacta tank or if there was a reason for it. Like, obviously, we saw his face disfigured from the acid and all the other stuff. But I must admit, like, I was wondering if there was going to be an end point to this Bacta tank. And I'm not sure if you brought it up because obviously I missed last week. But I love how he gives the Gregorian his Bacta tank.
Oh yeah, to heal.
Yeah, like it's not just about him.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love that there was the introduction of the idea of the Bacta tank when he meets Fennec Shand and he's down there in the Sarlacc and she's like, "We need to find you a Bacta tank. You know, you're burning."
Yeah.
And then to see that conclusion of, you know, you're now fully healed. You can definitely see that even through the Beskar, like he took some damage for however long he was in there, whether it was a couple days or longer.
Yeah, so a lot of people had speculated that Boba was like really messed up and he had cancer and all this stuff, which is why I had the Bacta tank. And I was going to make a video on it, but I didn't. But we kind of talked about the first episode. He went through all that time post Sarlacc up until Mando with, from what we saw, no Bacta tank. He was living with the Tuskens, so he wasn't dying. So I joked that he was probably in the Bacta tank, so he had to stop putting on the scar makeup, which is probably what it was. And then he got hurt in episode 1, right? He took the slash hurt, like, or whatever.
Every episode.
Yeah, but he got like where he was impaled or whatever, and he was like, "Get me to the tank," and they dragged him away. So I think that those are the injuries he's been healing from.
And Chrysanthemum messed him up pretty good.
Yeah, so he's been healing up from this season's wounds. Yeah, and get to the point where he doesn't have to put on makeup anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that, and then the narrative was for the flashback, so it all kind of fit, and now it's done with. I think there's not really any extra crazy meaning with the Bacta tank.
So what did you think of the reintroduction of Chrysanthemum?
I liked it. I was surprised he's still hanging around on the planet, but I guess, you know, what else he has to do. And when he's holding the Trandoshan up, I was like, they keep saying Wookiees rip people's arms out of their sockets. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. And then he did it. So
I love the end. Well, it was worth a try.
Yeah. My complaints have been with present timeline, and let me tell you why things turned around a little bit.
Okay.
So number one, my complaint about Boba was just he seemed passive and not really wanting to do anything with this role. Like, he just looked like the story's telling me to be here, but I don't care. Like, I can't explain it. I just had a weird feeling.
He looked incomplete, right?
Yeah, but now in this episode, he definitely seems mission driven and has a purpose.
Yep.
So I like that. Like, for me, I personally felt the change in Boba, which I really I enjoyed. And then he's bringing the families together. He's like, let's unite, take him down. He goes and recruits Black Chrysanthemum again. Yeah. So we're going to get him probably in every episode from here on out, which is cool. Yeah. And then we talked about how will this show tie in to the other properties. And we have the little Mando tease in the middle. And then at the very end, Fennec Shand's like, how much money's in the treasury, whatever. And Boba's like, I got more than enough credits. And he's like, I need muscle. And she's like,
buy muscle.
Buy muscle.
You know where to look.
And when she says it, though, it drops the Mando music.
I missed that.
Want to listen to it? I think it's the Mando music.
I was instantly thinking Cad Bane.
Well, first it opens the door for
that,
hiring.
Right?
It opens the door for hiring hunters, mercenaries, whatever, right? Totally opens the door for that.
Mm-hmm.
But here, let me am I sharing? I'm sharing.
Yeah.
Let's go to that final little end part and just give it a little listen here.
You all accrued wealth and riches under Jabba. Muscle. If you know where to look.
Here.
Oh!
There's the space flute.
Well done. Great pickup. I missed it because I think my mind started racing towards Cad Bane, but I mean,
So
yeah, could you see a Bo-Katan, a Mando,
yeah, so
what's
I
her face?
think
Do I always forget the name
yeah, I
of?
think we're definitely getting Mando now because Mando's broke. He's broke ass. The
Yeah, he
guy,
is broke.
the guy has no credits left because he stopped hunting,
Yep.
and he at one point he had his ship completely strung together with fishing line. So
Yeah.
Mando's looking for work.
Yeah.
So I gotta feel it's. I don't like Boba kind of had that confrontation with Bo-Katan and at the bar there. Remember he's like,
Yep.
I've heard your voice a million times or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be sweet if you got other Mandos, like Mandalorians in there, but I think the prime subject's going to be Mando.
Yeah.
The question is who's going to be with Mando? Like I don't
think we're gonna see an Ahsoka.
yeah, like he doesn't
It'd be a bit of a
have
stretch.
at this timeline, right? He doesn't have a ship. Like Razor Crest is gone and Boba has Slave One.
Yes.
So who we had
there's
Mando's a
an
complete
X-Wing,
unknown.
but I think it left the building.
Yeah. The one ship that's there is the Gauntlet starfighter that Bo-Katan flies. And if that thing shows up, maybe they are all together. I don't know. But Bo-Katan looks pretty pissed at Mando with that Darksaber. So I don't know how they're going to integrate, just because Mando's so open-ended with so many questions.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to bring him in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a scenario. Tell
Yeah.
me if you'd love it or hate it.
Okay.
They show up, Bo-Katan's there, and she's wielding the Darksaber. No explanation.
And no explanation.
Are you cool with it?
I'm into it because we'll find out in Mando season 3.
I agree. I would totally be cool with it. Quite frankly, Bo-Katan should wield the Darksaber. I realize that there is a history behind it, but we've seen that history has been broken multiple times. I don't care how she gets it back. I want to see Kate Sackhoff wheeling that Darksaber like a champ.
Let me now that I think about it, right? Like the whole who owns the Darksaber is going to be a major point of contention for Mando season 3. So if she came in wielding it, that's a huge plot point to just
right. But what a nugget to drop is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, how much does that hype you for season 3?
Yeah.
She shows up, Mando in tow. She's wielding the Darksaber. Like 38,000 questions afterwards. I think it's a great nugget. I think it'd be a great way to end the season.
So if Mando comes in, say Mando and one friend.
Yeah.
You know who's on Tatooine? Who Mando is a friend of? Cobb Vanth. So what if we get
Mando and Cobb?
Mando takes a space Uber to Tatooine. Someone's got to get him there. Maybe Boba goes and picks him up. Fennec gives the keys to Fennec Shan to go get some friends.
He's that's right. I keep forgetting he's stranded. He's got no ship. He's got no way to get there. He might need a space Uber.
So in our breakdown of the first 3 episodes, I kind of came to the mental conclusion that Cad Bane and Bosk are probably off the table with the way the season was going. But after that last line about hiring, in addition to Mando, because obviously Mando's the obvious one because the music cue.
Yeah.
But I think those hunters, some other hunters potentially back on the table. Considering one of the families that are in this fight is a clan of Trandoshans, like if we get Bosk.
Yeah, I mean Bosk is on the table.
Maybe Bosk is the guy we get.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Sked?
No, I
love a score.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I was worried there was going to be too much politics for you in that one, but your explanation makes perfect sense to me.
No, politics is good. It has to be done. I have to be excited about it. Yeah, and that's what I got this time around.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I think I said it right from the get-go. I think this was the best episode of the season so far. I'm a ship nerd, so like all the fire spray attack ship stuff, really excited me. So I'm gonna give this. I think we're gonna give this an 8.5.
Woo!
Yeah. That might be one
Wow.
of my. I'm trying to think if I've given anything. I've probably given one higher or a couple tied with that, but that's pretty good from my standpoint.
It is not my favorite episode of the kind of new age Star Wars universe.
Yeah,
but
not my
I
favorite of the
enjoyed it a
U.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
still
I'm
behind
going-
Luke and Ahsoka. Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm gonna go a solid 8.3 on this one,
nice.
and
Right,
only
buddy.
because I'm not as much of a ship nerd as you are. So like you would have gone ballistic with the ship and the Sarlacc and things like
Yeah.
that, and like the subtle nuances of not being able to see getting out of Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
I get it, but because I'm not as into that part as you are,
Yeah, like, had he like ambushed the speeder gang with his own speeder, or they just sniped him from a cliff, yeah, it could have been cool. But the fact that he
Yeah.
used Slave One to wipe them out, I
Yeah.
loved it. Oh,
Yeah.
one other point I forgot to bring up. When I was doing some of the reactions to the trailers, I was going through the director list, and this one was directed by Kevin Tank. I can't for the life of me pronounce his last name, but he was the dude who did the Mortal Kombat web series like years ago. And I
Wow.
got everyone hyped up for this dark, gritty, realistic Mortal Kombat, and it was really
Interesting.
good. And I haven't really seen much he's done since. So when I saw his name pop up on the list of directors, I'm like, I'm very curious to see what he does with this show. He was
Yeah.
the one who directed this episode.
Interesting.
And for me, I don't know, maybe Robert Rodriguez episodes I haven't been vibing with as much, but there was a director change this time around, and I loved what we got.
Great tidbit. Yeah,
Yeah.
well done.
All right. See you next Wednesday, Ged. Peace out,
Yeah.
everybody. Take
Cheers.
care.